all day and all night? Do you want a gaming rig that rips apart all the games?
Well then, don't you worry, because we've got you back. So this video is really special because we've got an special PC from MSI. It's an insane gaming setup and it will cost you insane amount of money as well. So let me walk you through it. First we'll talk about the monitor. So we got the MSI Optix MEG Z390. It's not the best out there from MSI, but it's a very good gaming monitor. It has an full HD panel with curved screen, 144Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time. Now a 24-inch monitor might not seem that big on paper, but once you get gaming on this monitor, it's an absolute immersive gaming experience. Not just for gaming, this is equally good for some color accurate works as well, because it has 110% sRGB coverage. So if you're into some video and photo editing, this is an equally good monitor. But this monitor is really made for competitive gamers, the ones that need high frame rates and high refresh rates. So with the hardware that we have got here, you can easily play games like Dota 2, CSGO, Fortnite, Overwatch or even PUBG at 144Hz to get that slight edge over the other gamers. But to get these kind of high frame rates, you do need a very good setup as well. And that is what we have exactly got here. Inside the MSI MEG bunker case, we've got one of the most powerful consumer grade graphics card, the Nvidia RTX 2080. So the RTX 2080 is a decent upgrade from the Nvidia's 10 series and it comes with ray tracing and DLSS. But from a perspective of a gamer, I guess there's still some time before the ray tracing becomes mainstream into the games, and therefore we won't be dwelling too much over that topic. So along with a powerful graphics card, we do have a powerful processor as well. We've got the Intel's 9th Gen i7 9700K, and like the 9900K, it does have that 8 physical cores, but it lacks hyper-threading. But the increase in physical core count over the i7 8700K should largely offset the loss of hyper-threading. And also some of the softwares do run better on physical cores than the logical cores. By the way, the i7 9700K does not come cheap, but it does provide best possible performance for gamers and it is very easily overclockable. But we do recommend a liquid cooler instead of an air cooler if you want to overclock. And talking about the air cooler, we've got the MSI's Core Frozer L as our air cooler. The MSI Core Frozer L is a top tier air cooler. It's big, it fits the color profile for MSI Gaming Series motherboards and leaves enough headroom but slightly hangs over one of the DIMM slots. Now talking about the DIMM slots, we've got the Spectrix D40 DDR4 RGB RAM from XPZ. We got two 16GB stick accounting for a total of 32 gigs of RAM running on dual channels. On some more memory, we've got a single 240 gigs M2.SSD from XPZ, and all of these powerful and extremely colorful components are fit into a beast of a motherboard from MSI, the MEG Z390 Ace. So with all of that powerful hardware, how does this gaming rig perform in games? But before that, let's check out some synthetic benchmarks. So this combination of CPU and GPU scored a 11692 on 3DMark TimeSpy. And just for the sake of comparison, we have the scores of AMD Ryzen 7 2700X and the Intel's i7 8700K with the same GPU. Then we also compare it with the i7 9700K but with Nvidia's older 1080 graphics card. Similarly, the test on 3DMark 5 Try left us with these results. So you can see that there's not much performance difference with the same GPU and different CPU combination, but there's almost 30% difference with the same CPU, the 9700K with two different GPUs, the 1080 and the RTX 2080. And that's because the 3DMark is more of a GPU reliant test, so we can clearly see that the RTX 2080 is clearly an upgrade based on synthetic benchmarks. As for Geekbench, our rig scored 5971 on single core and 29628 on the multi-core, significantly ahead of the 8700K and the Ryzen 7 2700X, and it's also not much further behind the 9900K on the single core performance. So I guess you could save some money if you use the 9700K instead of the 9900K if your primary need is gaming and you do not care much about those multi-threadings, which comes handy while using blenders and other video editing tools. Now this was all about benchmarks, and now it's time for the games. So as for the games, we are running PUBG at max settings and we played it on the new snow map, the Weekendy. And we are mostly hovering around average FPS of 120. We hit the max FPS of 158 and the lowest we hit was the 102 on the PUBG. So if you lower and tweak around some settings, you can easily hit that constant 144 FPS on this beast of a PC. On Just Cause 4, our boy Rico was wreaking havoc all over the places and we are getting an average FPS of 120. It never seemed to dip below that 120, but it did when there were plenty of explosions, and you know the kind of wrecking things that goes on the Just Cause games. So this was the highest of the settings. Slight tweak will definitely see the game hitting constant 144 FPS for the smooth gameplay on the 144Hz monitor. Similarly, on Battlefield 5 we are hitting an average FPS of 125. This game is absolute joy to play in this setup, and also that curved monitor really reels you in on the game. And as for the games such as the Battlefield 5, you will be visually awed when you are going through all of those World War II war stories. As for the Tomb Raider, we're getting average FPS of 108 with everything turned on and everything on ultra settings. Frame drops were very rare in Tomb Raider as well, and if you tune the settings slightly, hitting the 144 FPS on this game won't be a problem on this PC. Now the game that suffered the most drastic frame drop was the GTA 5. I was getting average FPS of 90. The FPS would mostly hover in the range of 90s and 100s, but it would often drop to 74. And it was the lowest FPS I got during my whole gaming test. Well, this game is not optimized for PC and is a console port, so the FPS drop is largely due to that fact as well. We also played the monster slaying game, the Monster Hunter World, and it runs remarkable on highest of settings. On highest setting, the game runs on average FPS of 120 with lowest FPS of 95 and the highest of 145. Mostly the game would hover around 115 to 120 FPS. In the outdoor forest settings, the monster slaying would see FPS drop to 100 and 105, but indoors the FPS would hover around 115 while fighting the monsters. And as to test the true potential of this gaming PC, we decided that we should definitely play one of the most demanding older games, the Crysis 3, on this beast PC, and so we did. And the game ran on average FPS of 105. The lowest we got was 95 and we were hovering around 110 most of the times, and occasionally we'd hit that highest of 150s. So as you can see, this game is still beautiful and still hard on the systems. As for the thermals, running all these games saw max temperature of 76. Most of the times the temperature would be around 60s, and often with games like Monster Hunter World, the temperature would rise up to 76. And also MSI was kind enough to send us the MSI keyboard and the mouse as well. Well, keyboard is not the best that MSI has to offer, but the mouse was really good. The DS100 is a nice gaming mouse with similar shape to the SteelSeries rival 300. There are dedicated DPI changer and there are 2 extra side buttons as well. It was a very good experience using the MSI DS100. So this is one of the most powerful gaming PCs available anywhere, and if you're looking to get this in Nepal, it will cost you a whopping 4,38,000 along with the monitor, keyboard, mouse and a genuine Windows 10. We'll leave the full specs of the device on the description below just in case you're thinking of getting one of these. So hope you guys liked our video, and also let us know in the comments if you want to see more of these PCs in our channel. And as always, like our video, subscribe to our channel for further contents like this. Also hit that bell icon to get notifications. Until next time, namaste.